You've been working your tail off for years, haven't you? You wake up, put in the hours, deal with the stress, and at the end of the month, a decent-sized number lands in your bank account. It should feel like a victory, but instead, it feels like a ghost. By the time you've paid the rent, grabbed some groceries, and handled those unavoidable life expenses, that number has vanished. You're left staring at a screen, wondering where it all went, feeling like you're running a race on a treadmill that's been tilted just a few degrees against you. It's exhausting. It's frustrating. And honestly, it's demoralizing to feel like you're doing everything right, being a responsible adult, yet staying exactly where you were 5 years ago. The reality is that being broke usually isn't about a lack of income. We've been conditioned to think that if we just earned an extra 10 or 20%, the problem would go away. But it doesn't. Because the problem isn't the amount coming in. It's the invisible normal leaks that drain your future before you even get a chance to hold it. We're going to stop that today. We're going to look in the mirror and dismantle the habits that are keeping you on that treadmill. This isn't a lecture about skipping your morning coffee. This is a masterclass in reclaiming your freedom. Before we pull back the curtain on these 11 traps, I want to know who is in this room with me. We have people watching from every corner of the globe, all facing different economies but the same human psychology. Drop a comment below and let me know where you're watching from: London, Sao Paulo, New York, Tokyo. It's powerful to see that we're all in this together. And if you're tired of the hustle culture fluff and want a no-nonsense approach to actually building wealth, join our inner circle. Hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications, and give this a like. It tells the algorithm that financial literacy is something people actually care about. Let's talk about the first and perhaps most damaging habit: the sequence error. Most people have a very specific order of operations when they get paid. They pay the landlord, the utility company, the grocer, the streaming services, and the credit card bill. Then, if there is anything left over, they put it into savings. That is the sequence of someone who will always be broke. You are essentially treating yourself like the last person in line at a buffet, hoping there's a stray piece of lettuce left after everyone else has gorged themselves. The shift here is fundamental. You have to reframe savings not as money I didn't spend, but as the very first bill you owe. It's the bill you owe to your future self. When you pay everyone else first, you are literally valuing their dreams over yours. You're making the CEO of the cable company richer, while your own freedom remains a distant maybe. You need to automate this. Before you even see the money, a portion needs to disappear into an account you don't touch. If you wait until the end of the month to see what's left, the answer will always be zero. Why? Because Parkinson's law tells us that expenses will always rise to meet income. If it's there, you'll find a need for it. Stop being the last person in your own line. Then we have the sale trap. This is where marketing departments play us like a fiddle. We've all been there, walking through a store or scrolling through an app and seeing a 50% off or buy one get one free tag. Your brain gets a massive hit of dopamine. You think, I'm saving $50. No, you aren't. You're spending $50 you had no intention of spending 5 minutes ago. Marketing is designed to weaponize our natural desire for a bargain to make us part with our cash. They create a sense of urgency, Black Friday only, or Prime Day deals, to bypass your logical brain. You aren't saving money unless you were already planning to buy that exact item at its full price today. If you buy a $300 jacket for $150, you didn't save $150. You lost $150. The shift here is to adopt a cooling off period. If it's on sale and you want it, wait 72 hours. Usually, the dopamine fades, and you realize you don't actually want the item, you just wanted the thrill of the win. Wealth is built on the things you don't buy, not the discounts you collect. This leads us into the invisible bleed. Imagine you're flying a plane, but you've decided to tape over the fuel gauge because looking at it makes you nervous. That sounds insane, right? Yet, that is exactly how most people manage their money. They roughly know what they have, but they don't actually track the cents. They fly blindly, hoping they have enough fuel to reach the next paycheck. This psychological fog is a choice. We avoid looking at our bank statements because deep down, we know we won't like what we see. But you cannot manage what you do not measure. Those small, untracked expenses. The extra app subscription, the convenience store snacks, the it's only $10 purchases, are the leaks that sink the ship. The shift is simple but uncomfortable. Track every single cent for 30 days. Not to judge yourself, but to see the reality. When you see that you spent $200 on takeout in a month when you thought you spent $50, the fog clears. Awareness is the first step to control. You wouldn't run a business without a ledger. Don't run your life without one. Now, let's talk about the hedonic treadmill, or what most people call lifestyle inflation. This is the cruelest trap of all. You work hard, you get a promotion, you get a significant raise. You think, finally, I can breathe. But within 3 months, that extra money has vanished. You moved into a slightly nicer apartment, you upgraded your car lease, you started eating at slightly better restaurants. Suddenly, you feel just as broke as you did on the lower salary. The problem is that our expectations of what is normal or necessary shift upward the moment our income does. We buy things to match our new status, but those things quickly become the new baseline. You aren't any happier. You're just carrying a heavier load. The shift here is to hide your raises. When you get a bump in pay, keep living on your old salary for at least 6 months. Direct that entire surplus into investments or debt repayment. If you don't see it, you won't spend it, and you'll break the cycle of working harder just to fund a more expensive version of the same stress. We also have to address the decoupling effect of credit cards. There is actual neuroscience behind this. When you hand over a $100 bill for a purchase, your brain's pain centers actually light up. You feel the loss. It's physical. But when you swipe a piece of plastic or tap your phone, that pain center stays quiet. The pleasure of the purchase is decoupled from the pain of the payment. You get the item now, but the bill is a problem for future you. Credit cards are a tool, but for most people, they are a muleta, a crutch, that allows them to live a life they haven't earned yet. We use them to bridge the gap between our desires and our reality, and in doing so, we pay a massive impatience tax in the form of interest. The shift? Go back to cash or a debit card for a month. Feel the ouch of paying for things. It will naturally curb your spending more than any budget spreadsheet ever could. If you can't feel the money leaving your hand, you'll never truly respect how hard you work to earn it. Then there's the fantasy self. This one is a bit embarrassing once you realize you're doing it. We all have a version of ourselves in our heads that is slightly more perfect than we actually are. This version of us goes to the gym 5 times a week, cooks gourmet organic meals every night, and learns a new language on the weekends. So, we spend money for that person. We buy the $2,000 home gym equipment, the high-end blender, the expensive language software, and then they sit there, collecting dust. Because the real you is tired after work and just wants to watch Netflix. We buy these things as a shortcut to the identity we want, hoping that owning the gear will magically give us the discipline. It doesn't. The shift is to earn your gear. Want to be a runner? Run in your old sneakers for a month first. If you stick with it, then buy the fancy shoes. Don't buy for the person you wish you were. Buy for the person you've proven you are through your actions. Let's talk about the yes man syndrome. This is the high cost of social FOMO, the fear of missing out. You're trying to save, you're trying to be responsible, but then your friends want to go to that expensive brunch, or there's a bachelor party in another city, or everyone is chipping in for a gift you can't afford. You say ease, because you don't want to be the boring one or the broke one. You're literally spending money. You don't have to impress people who aren't paying your bills. The social pressure to maintain a certain lifestyle is a silent killer of wealth. We are tribal creatures, and we hate being left out. But true friends will respect your boundaries if you're honest. The shift is learning the power of no, or, better yet, the alternative yes. Instead of saying I can't afford that dinner, say I'm focusing on some big financial goals right now, But why don't you guys come over to my place for drinks before you go? You keep the connection without destroying your bank account. Your financial freedom is worth more than a temporary social high. Another major roadblock is the perfect moment myth. This is the mental habit of when. I'll start investing when I get that bonus. I'll start budgeting when I finish this project. We treat financial management like a luxury that we'll get around to once life calms down. Newsflash, life never calms down. There will always be a car repair, a wedding, or a holiday around the corner. Managing money is a skill, and like any skill, it requires practice with small amounts before you can handle large ones. If you can't manage $100, you won't be able to manage 100,000. The perfect moment is a mirage designed to keep you comfortable in your current habits. The shift is to start today with whatever you have, even if it's $5. The amount matters less than the habit of direction. You don't wait to be fit to go to the gym. You go to the gym to get fit. Don't wait to have money to manage it. Manage it so you can have money. Then we have death by 1,000 cuts. In the old days, you knew when you were spending money because you had to physically go to a store. Today, our money is under constant attack from microtransactions. It's the $5 streaming subscription you forgot to cancel. It's the $2 convenience fee for booking online. It's the premium version of an app you use once a year. Individually, these amounts are trivial. They feel like nothing. But collectively, they are a hemorrhage. Over a decade, these small recurring costs can represent the difference between a house deposit and a lifetime of renting. We've been conditioned to think in terms of monthly payments instead of total cost. The shift is to do a subscription audit. Look at your bank statement and find every recurring charge. If you haven't used it in the last 30 days, kill it. You can always sign up again later, but you'll be surprised how many you don't even miss. We also need to talk about the time thief, which is treating investments as a later problem. This is a failure to understand the sheer, terrifying power of the cost of delay. Most people think that if they start investing at 40 instead of 20, they just need to save twice as much. It doesn't work like that. Because of the way compound interest works, someone who starts early and stops can end up with far more than someone who starts late and saves aggressively. When you treat investing as something for old people or rich people, you are literally stealing from your future self. You are throwing away the most valuable asset you have, time. The shift is to understand that every dollar you invest in your 20s or 30s is worth $10 or $20 in your 60s. Investing isn't about playing the market. It's about buying back your time in the future. The best time to start was 10 years ago. The second best time is right now. Finally, the most expensive habit of all, the ostrich effect, refusing to seek out financial knowledge. We live in an era where the sum of human knowledge is in our pockets, yet many of us remain financially illiterate because it's boring or it's too complicated. We rely on intuition to manage our money, but our intuition was evolved for a world of hunting and gathering, not for a world of credit scores and index funds. Our brains are literally wired to make bad financial decisions, to seek immediate rewards and ignore long-term risks. Choosing to stay ignorant is a choice to stay broke. The cost of not knowing how taxes work, how interest compounds, or how inflation erodes your savings is much higher than any fee you'd pay an advisor. The shift is to become a student of money. Read one book. Listen to one podcast. Understand the rules of the game you're playing every single day. You wouldn't play a board game without reading the rules. Why would you play the game of life that way? Now, looking back at these 11 habits, it's easy to feel a sense of guilt or regret. You might be tallying up how much money you've lost over the years to these traps. But here's the thing, guilt is useless. It's just another drain on your energy. The version of you that made those mistakes didn't have the perspective you have right now. Those habits were the default settings of a society designed to make you spend. To break free, you need a new financial operating system. You need to move from imitative behavior, doing what everyone else is doing, to intentional behavior. Wealth isn't about being a miser or living a life of deprivation. It's about clarity. It's about knowing that when you say no to a meaningless purchase today, you are saying a massive yes to your freedom tomorrow. True wealth is the sum of the things you don't see. It's not the flashy car or the designer watch. Those are often just wealth signals that people use to hide the fact that they're broke. Real wealth is the peace of mind that comes from having an emergency fund. It's the freedom to quit a job you hate because you have a runway. It's the ability to be generous to others without checking your balance. It's about having choices. You have the tools now. You know about the sequence error, the sale trap, the invisible bleed, and the rest. The question is, what are you going to do in the next 24 hours to change the trajectory? Maybe it's setting up that automatic transfer. Maybe it's canceling 3 subscriptions. Maybe it's just finally looking at your bank statement with your eyes wide open. If this no-nonsense approach resonated with you, if you're ready to stop being normal and start being wealthy, then make sure you've subscribed and turned on those notifications. We're going to keep doing these deep dives into the psychology of success and the mechanics of freedom. And do me a favor, hit that like button. It helps us reach more people who are stuck on that treadmill, wondering why they're so tired. The race is only against yourself. The treadmill is only as steep as you let it be. It's time to step off, take a breath, and start building the life you actually want to live. You've got this. I'll see you in the next one.